Hey guys, Marcel Leblanc here, lead financial coach at OnVisor, and I'm here with a longtime family friend, cousin actually, technically, and Véronique Chiasson. So Vero is a teacher and a very, very close family friend. And to put things into perspective, we've been working together as, advisor-client for several years now. Through savings, RSPs, I've helped her with her pension stuff over the years. And basically, we are doing our first case study. So this is an interview, yes, but I brought her in as a case study because we've worked on something I found to be quite exceptional in the last 6 months or so. And we've seen tremendous results. And Vero graciously agreed to actually share her story and actually do an exchange here today of what happened, how we surmounted it, how the advice played an important piece to it. So welcome and thanks again for doing this, Vero.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to lately.
About myself,
yeah, just generally, not about this thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm a teacher, and so I work hard as a teacher, but I'm also a mom of two kids, Sevi and Onyx. And Sevi is 1.5, and Onyx will be turning 4.
Because I couldn't have. I knew Onyx was 4.
Yeah.
Sevi, no clue.
1.5. And I'm a wife to Mike Thibodeau. And generally speaking, I'm a go big or go home type of person. So everything I do, I love to do it fully. So I work out fully and I eat well fully, and I like to be the best mom I can be.
So an extremist of sorts?
Yeah, I've been told.
I would define you as an extremist. Not in a bad way, but you're definitely, you go in all the way. Yeah. Cool. So when did you realize you needed help with your family budget, and what changed over the course of you kind of realizing that? Like, what was that aha, or
what made me
how did that develop? Okay. How did you reaching out to me or noticing you had to scribble down your things or pay attention, how did that come about?
Well, like I said, I'm usually what did you say?
Extremist?
Yes.
Yeah.
And being that kind of leads to me being kind of a perfectionist also.
Yeah.
And I
in control,
yes.
maybe? Yeah.
And I noticed that I wasn't in control with my finances. Like, Mike and I would be right about to go to bed, and then we'd start talking about stuff, and I'd be like, don't forget, I need this from you, or I already paid this, did you handle that? And I just noticed, we weren't surviving.
Okay.
And even
kind of
more
spinning
than
in the mud.
Well, even worse. Instead of just trying to paddling, I felt like I was sinking.
Okay,
it
so
was
you
worse.
were beyond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was scary also because my parents worked so hard into making sure that I was debt free coming out of studies and everything. So I had no reasons at all to be collecting debt at all.
Yeah.
And it was scary and it was embarrassing, and I didn't want to get to the point where I had to tell my parents I need help.
Yeah.
Or
so you wanted to avoid.
Yeah, I wanted for them to be proud and all of that. So
okay, so a bunch of emotions and a bunch of
And I felt I was set up well enough to be able, to do that.
Yeah,
I should be able to do it.
Yeah,
so
the best chance. Yeah, you had all the advantages going in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So was turning to professional help your first instinct? Why or why not?
No. Well, because I've always been such a disciplined person, I always thought to myself, you can do this. So I've done it. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I've done it many times. I wrote everything I was spending down to the, with taxes and with the pennies and everything. And
but you were tracking.
I was tracking, and everything that was coming in, more was coming out. And it wasn't working. I think one of the parts that wasn't working is because I was also working on my side and Mike was working on his end. We weren't joining our money together, but even so.
Which you can still work. You don't have to.
No. But even so, just handling my own, I noticed it still wasn't working. And that was a big alarm for me because I was you're doing your best, my absolute best, and it's not working.
You're still
I was like
wondering,
freaking out.
Sound the alarm.
Yes.
I remember that.
I remember that
phone call.
Do you remember, like, even from 1 week to the next, like before we met about it, and like a week in, and how I changed?
Oh yeah.
My bank, like I went to the bank at one point, and she's like, "You're a different person from last week." She said, like, "You're so calm now that you've started."
Well, there's a difference between, I think one of the main changes hearing you talk now, because I didn't know you tracked things before. You might have told me in our meeting.
I tried, but it was not consistently.
There's a difference between tracking and proactively fixing.
Yes.
Like, there's a big difference. Tracking, you say, oh, well, I spent this much on groceries, and there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Which it kind of segues into our next conversation is, so what was the hardest part about building your budget? And that's what I mean about building. Proactively saying, I'm going to do the hard work of figuring this stuff out.
The hardest part, I think, and that's where the panic kind of set in, is when I remember when we met, you said, like, I won't be building your budget, I will be guiding you through it. And I was kind of hoping for, like,
a delivery.
Yeah, like a recipe. Do this. And you delivered the steps, and it was like very black and white, like the steps that I had to follow. But it was like the hard work, like you said, was backtracking all those months and taking out and printing all the bank statements, all the credit card statements, everything you did,
accounting
and
for
then
all of it.
Categorizing it, and like, you spent this much in here and you spent that much, just to kind of track my patterns. That was the hardest part. Also being said, and Mike said I could say this because I said, like, what can I say?
I don't want to get
he
said
no. But I had to cover his bills, like, too, because he's not very organized in his stuff. So
you take over.
Yeah, so I had to go in and do all his share too, which. And I told I said, like, sit down, let's highlight what was for gas, let's highlight what was for food. So that was the longest part, and I thought I was going to do it in a sitting, because I'm like, really, let's just do this, and it took like a week
of chipping
like with like parenting and stuff, and like by time everything was done. So
and I do believe you did it, like, again, you went all in. So I think it's not
very vigorous.
So you went, and then I think that's why you got such good results from it. But I think doing the hard work is the hardest part, and it's that's where most people turn around. Or stop. They're like, whatever, like, I'll keep doing what I was doing, which we all know doesn't really
But I was so scared. I was not going back. I needed to try something else. So.
And the thing is I know a lot of people that I meet and for budgeting or existing clients or new clients that really need help, is I think there's a difference. They expect a recipe, and I like that word. They expect a recipe or a magic pill and says, you got to do it this way. Or saying, well, your mortgage should represent this percentage of your income or your food, but we're all different. Like, it was important for you to keep buying your groceries the same way, eating the same food. The same quality of food, because you have a very strict diet, and I said your budget should respect that. So were you able to stay on budget after you built it? Did you have to change it, or did you modify it as you went on?
I did, for a few reasons, but only when stuff came up. Like, and I'll explain. Like, so once I had figured out where my expenses were and what I could change, what was fixed and what was flexible, that you said. And I put it in that Excel sheet, and that was kind of like a recipe. It kind of told me, and I knew.
You made your own.
So I knew what I was now budgeting for groceries and so on and so forth. So all that stuff didn't change, but, like, for example, Mike got a new job, so that kind of it changed, like, how much income we had in, and then it changed, like, his previous company, I think, paid for a cell, and this one didn't, so we had to budget that in there, so certain things like that. But I never, from week to week, I really, really try not to say, like, I'm gonna change this week's budget for my groceries just because I feel like buying this.
I feel like going to the market this weekend, or I feel
I feel like doing this more. If it wasn't in the budget, I kind of try to write it out. And if it's been like a month or so that same thing comes up, and I always feel like doing it, then Mike and I will meet up and I'll ask him, can I change this in the budget? He'll say yes, and then we'll adjust. But generally speaking, we do stick to the budget.
And when you adjust something, so let's say you want to permit yourself something, let's say you want to sign up for something, yoga classes, whatever, are you going to go offset it with something? Are you going to go find the money in your budget?
But that's another thing, like if
not that it's easy.
No, but like like yoga, I actually save up, and that I think might come up later. But that's like my biggest takeaway from it. It's so gratifying.
Prepay.
Yes, and you buy something, and usually I would just like buy on the spot, and then you don't end up like appreciating it as much as when I know I've been saving for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we do have like what we call as fluff money.
Yep.
And sometimes I need to save my share of my fluff money for like 2-3 weeks
we call,
to
yeah,
get
your spending
something.
money, your like your personal money. We talk about it, the cash bucket, the cash economy.
But I don't have the bucket going. I actually just like I write it down how much I have and
keep track.
Yeah.
Same idea. Yeah, that's huge because you got to treat yourself. And just to say, there's a psychological difference between paying something up front and like whether it's, you know, even if it's through a debit card and you see your track your number go down, but when it's recurring, you forget about it and then you don't appreciate it as much.
Yeah.
It's the same as going to Starbucks, and if you like Starbucks, and saying, I'm gonna give you a $20 bill and you're only gonna give me $16 back, then it's like, oh, I'm out $4.
Yeah.
But if I give you my credit card and you give me the exact same credit card back, psychologically,
it doesn't hit home.
It doesn't hit.
Yeah, it doesn't like, yeah.
It's like, I know I paid for it, but I don't have to deal with it today, right? So it's the same idea. Awesome. So how did budgeting impact your life? Like, what are the, the good and the bad and everything in between?
To kind of go again on what I was saying, it's so gratifying and fulfilling to know that, because I think it's pretty impressive. We were, our debts were growing before I met you.
Yeah.
And now we're actually, and that's how, it's crazy to me. Everything is accounted for and we still have $900 to put down on a debt every month.
So one budget, you found two average salaries.
Incomes.
Two average incomes.
None of us are like millionaires. We have good jobs.
Yeah.
But $900 and we still get our cell phones. We still go to the movies. We still get good groceries. I still eat organic. I don't feel like I'm cutting anywhere.
Yeah, you're not depriving yourself.
I feel like I'm winning because if Mike, I think his spending was more towards food, and he still does, but it's with the money that he gains from his gigs.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And
I remember.
I, instead of shopping, I still feel I shop as much. It's just that I consciously shop and I will pay
with
cash.
A budget now.
Exactly.
Instead of shopping without a budget,
exactly. But I'm I know exactly what I bought next week, and I know exactly what I have like a wish list of what I want to buy. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And you're paying down $900 a day a month.
So satisfying. And going to bed, I only notice now how much I was thinking about it and how much money did bother me.
Yeah.
And now I don't ever think about it.
Well, that's huge. So it's almost priceless.
It is.
So what would be your biggest lesson learned from the experience overall?
Well, I like the idea of recipes and diets.
I'm going to steal that, if you don't mind. I'm going to steal the whole recipe thing because it's easy to bring in and out and compare.
Yeah. And I also like while talking about food, like the comparison of a diet, like every budget is going to be different for everybody. Same thing as not one diet is going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
And you really got to figure out what works for you. Like, what amount of carbs can you eat in a week or in a day?
Yeah.
What amount of money can you permit yourself to spend in this category type of thing?
Like a marathon runner or a Michael Phelps or something has to eat a crap load of calories. So that's because he can afford to spend
do
those.
it.
So he can eat full lasagnas and he can do whatever. But somebody who lives a sedentary lifestyle and a small person can't afford to eat as many calories, and budgeting's the same. If somebody makes $300,000 a year, they can afford a few trips a year, right? But if somebody doesn't, well, they just can't.
And the same thing as there is no right one that is going to fix everybody. And I love the idea. I feel it's so great to know that I really worked hard on this budget and it fits our lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And so it sticks to me.
Yeah, and you didn't have to change. Yeah, I found the same when I do mine. I do mine about once a year. And every time in the new year, I redo mine. And I'm about to do mine hopefully this weekend or the next weekend. And I never cut out things that make me happy. I just if I find out I've been spending too much on those things, I'll just say, okay, well, I have to budget for it.
Yeah.
Prepay, don't, I made a post a few weeks ago. It's, prepay, don't repay. Number one rule in finance.
Oh, one thing that you had told me that I love and we're doing now is I don't, and I used to do it, I would buy in advance, like if something was on
bulk
sale.
Buying?
Yes. Yeah. And I do still shop at Costco and stuff, but I don't buy in advance because something's on sale, because you know why I noticed it wasn't working? It's because, let's say you buy because it's half off.
Yeah.
So you're buying saying that you're going to be saving yourself money, but like whenever, let's say I'd buy two loaves of bread, and then you finish one, and technically you should be buying your next one. Well, that's when you'd be technically saving, right? Because you already purchased it. But that money that I would be saving, I spent it on something else instead of putting it aside. So nobody ever puts that money aside when they'd be buying it, right?
Yeah.
So you never get ahead.
Logically, you'd think it stays in the account.
Yeah, but it
actually
doesn't, because you do use it on
it.
something else.
Yeah, because you don't have the budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't buy.
I never saw it from that
Yeah,
angle.
I finally noticed, like, why don't you come out as a winner? It's because you do not actually put that money aside that you're technically saving when it comes to time to buy another one.
Never thought of that angle. I've been thinking. I when I walk the dog, I think of new ideas for videos and blogs and whatever. And I do have this idea for a blog or that it's what is wasteful. Is it buying things that aren't on sale, or is it buying things you don't need?
Yeah.
Right? So when we talked about the whole Costco thing,
Yeah.
Buying a year's worth of soap ahead of time, you save per bar of soap,
Yeah.
but you're buying, that's money that could have been used elsewhere.
Exactly, because every month when you'd technically be buying another bar of soap, let's say it's $5, are you taking that $5 and putting it aside? You're spending it on something else.
Yeah.
So you're not.
Or even the $5 you'd spend across all bars of soap.
Yeah.
You don't invest it, or you don't.
No,
put it on
exactly.
debt. It just
Spend
falls through the cracks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was something I took out of it. And last thing I love that I did, and you told me, like, don't budget down to your last penny. Yeah.
Give yourself a buffer.
I have a buffer,
Grace.
and I actually have like a buffer on like pretty much everything. I always let's say my cell phone is
round up
60,
your expenses.
65, and even a bit more, like all those things that are especially the flexible ones.
Yeah.
I always shot like an extra $10 over. So that is also fluff.
Round down your income and round
that's what
up
I did.
your expenses.
Oops, yeah, that's what I did. And it really helps, especially like during winter, where like I always gauge for my electrical bill to be way higher than it is. So at summertime, I do have all that extra cash flow, but when winter comes around, all that extra is still in the bank, covering for how I actually go above. So
awesome.
It works.
Awesome. Well,
So
thank you very,
excited.
very, very much. This
You're
has
welcome.
been awesome. Hopefully been good for you guys. So I know I am open to talk about this. And if you ever want to reach out to me or get in touch with Vero, I think you'd be open.
Absolutely.
So I have her contact info. Get in touch through me on my page or whatever, and I can give you Vero's email if you'd like to talk to her before you talk to me. Sometimes that's preferred for people who might know her more than me. So thanks for your time, and thanks, Vero.
Thank you.
Hug it out.
Bye.
All right, see ya. Cheers, guys.